the Padres are being forced into an impossible decision. How do you handle too many superstar pitchers and not enough spots to put all of them? Let's talk about it here on this episode of Padres Digest. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Christian Pedersen back with another episode. As we go through this one, talking about Michael King and the starting rotation, drop a comment, as always, on everything, or let us know what else you want to talk about. Got tons of other videos coming out, or tons of other videos that have come out and will continue to come out. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm doing the preamble thing that's a stereotypical YouTube thing. Let's get to the baseball. Let's talk about Michael King, because this has now happened. He has made a rehab start, and we can break down the numbers any multitude of ways. I try my best to cherry pick more optimism the second half of this season after reading all of your guys' comments about my pessimism early on. So I'm going to try and read this with some rose-colored glasses as being the duration of this start was good and the individual stuff of the start was good. We got some strikeouts. 5-to-1 K to walk ratio is a great sign of, I think, the command was there. The runs, okay, like not every pitch was executed perfectly, but this leaves me thinking that we have more good than bad to take away from it. There was specifically moments like this, and I apologize for this being a still image of a video. I don't go through all the hoops and loops to avoid the YouTube copyright censor. So I just give you the still images on this. But you can fill in the blank with your imagination here of that ball sweeping low and away for a strikeout here. It was moments like this where like King had his signature stuff, and he had it for a duration of over 60 pitches. And all of those are, I think, checks in the right direction. The question now is what is next for Michael King after this? AJ Cassavell had this quote in his most recent article about it. And I take AJ Cassavell as being one of the more level-headed anti-me's out there, so an actual journalist. But unclear right now if he needs one more start or if he's good to go as soon as the Boston series. August is a brutal month for the Padres, and I have a, like this is why I say always hit the subscribe button, because we've got the breakdown on all of this. Right now, the Padres are going through the probably easiest part of the month with Cardinals and then Diamondbacks, given that the Diamondbacks seem to be somewhat pulling back on the season. And then here's the Boston series that would be maybe what is circled as the earlier appearance for Michael King. After that, they go Giants, and Giants are still, I count the Giants as being in it until they get like 10 or 15 back. So even at 9 back, they're still a threat. They're still a good, competent baseball team and not a series that the Padres can take lightly. And then going through the rest of August, it ends with more of they go back to play the Dodgers, then the Giants, and it just ends up being a whole gauntlet of things for the rest of that month. So right now would be looking at the earliest window being that Red Sox series. I think that that's awesome. And I think that the difference between the Red Sox series or him needing one more rehab start and then a Giants or Dodgers series, like one start is negligible, but getting him back right now in this stretch, I think, is the huge part of all of this. The stats for Michael King as of when we last saw him, because it's been a minute, so you might not entirely remember. This is what he has put up so far this year. No idea if he's going to maintain pace, slow down, have 2 bad starts, get up to speed before 2 more good starts, and the ERA gets skewed or something like that. But let's assume that he's back at 90+% of himself. So like a good facsimile of this. The Padres now add what ostensibly has become our number 1 starter back into the rotation. And I'm down to have the discussion of is Darvish or is Pivetta but a real, like a top of the rotation, top of the line guy. And he is going in to join this, which some new names and faces here with Seals and Nestor Cortez. I don't know why I call him Nestor more than I call him Cortez, but I like Nasty Nestor. Right now, Seals and Cortez make sense on there because they have to round out the rotation. They're the guys that, we liquidated the back end of the and then sent Randy Vasquez down. So I'm sure that you could make a case for Michael King coming in and bumping one of those two dudes down into AAA. But right now, could you also, because I've seen this in the comment section, the Padres, they could also talk about a 6-man rotation. I don't know where in baseball history it got decided arbitrarily at 5, or if 5 scientifically is just the best. If some of you guys know or have opinions on why it's 5 starting pitchers in the rotation, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. But maybe 6 ends up being, when I game plan, or not game plan, but when I sort of gameplay this out in my head, maybe 6th because gives us Yu Darvish on a little bit more rest that his body needs at this point in the season, at this point in his career. Dylan Cease able to throw with another day of rest and really focus on, get his strikeouts, throw a ton of pitches, do whatever you can, but just use all your, throw hard. Maybe that helps unlock a little bit more success from him later in the season. I think you could also say that it helps us insert some more lefties. I get the negatives of it would maybe mean less starts from Pivetta and guys that are having already good years. I don't think that Seals or Cortez, I don't think either of those last two guys are necessarily deal breakers of, oh my gosh, we traded for them, and then moving them down to AAA is a sacrosanct and a horrible sign. It's a good thing that we have pitching. We do need one lefty. 2 is dope, but I think that I would assume if you guys are of the 5-person rotation, you would get rid of one of those 2. So drop a comment on, do you like the 5-man rotation? Do you want a 6-man rotation? Do you think that it's one of those 2 guys? Do you think that someone else gets sent down? Do you think that somebody here, if the starter, if say they do go down to a 5-man rotation, do you want to put Nestor in the bullpen? Sometimes a team, when they start to have this situation, I think always does the wink and the nod of oh, we're going to hold on to the other guy and move into the bullpen, and that's a benefit because you don't have an elite bullpen. The Padres basically have the Avengers in the bullpen and are not lacking. You could always benefit from more arms, but I don't think we're going to move Nestor into the bullpen does anything for me in a way where I'm oh yeah, we can slot him in at 5, and then there's this great spillover into the pen. I like our pen as is. I don't need to mess with it. I don't need to finagle some starter in there. I like the lineup. I like the setup that we got. So I would assume that one of these guys, if you do go down to a 5-man rotation, will be sent down to AAA. So let me know what you think on the 5 or the 6-man rotation. But I think it's kind of an impossible decision for me because both are win-win, both are lose-lose. I like the 6th man, give some more rest, rotation, keep things as fresh as possible. But then maybe once the playoffs get here, you cut it down to 4. There's a lot of ideas, and they're all good because it's a Michael King is returning, so other dominoes are starting to fall in a positive direction, and that's great for the Padres, and that's what the Padres need down the stretch like this, heading into all these big games. So I'm curious what you guys think. Drop a comment. Let me know. And like I said, if you could hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. We got a ton of content coming out between now and the end of the season, whether that's in the wild card, the DS, the CS, or as World Series champs. Either way, we will be here all year for you. Talk to you soon, Padres fans.